Part 49. Swallowed Star, My Understanding is Beyond Belief. Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 481. Do you want these two things? Rorschach threw the ghost crow dark feather and dark star ring blade dropped by the ghost crow god to the world beast Beatty. Beatty was playing with two treasures. The ghost crow dark feather was a dark wing with a strange material. On the red root bone, there were endless dark feathers. Each dark feather was lingering with evil venom, making this dark feather the wings looked as if they were stained with oil, sticky and slippery. Want? World beast Beatty nodded. He still doesn't have any treasures. The dark star ring blade and ghost crow dark feather look pretty good. What about you? Luoxia looked at Yakin. Since they were together, she naturally had to share some of the spoils with her. Rorschach doesn't think highly of these treasures. Apart from selling them for money, he really didn't know what to do with these treasures. Yakin looked at the treasure that Wuzidin and the others had dropped, and shook his head slightly. Thank you, Lord God, but I don't need it. She has the God King level treasure passed down from her ancestors, and she doesn't need Wuzidin's treasure. Hearing this, Luoxia directly collected the treasures dropped by Wuzidin and the others. Okay, let's continue setting off. They move on. On the other side, the original universe. Deep in the endless chaotic airflow, the majestic and huge corpse was flying rapidly towards the direction of the original universe. On the root of the corpse, a mountain rider suddenly appeared. Sitting on the mountain, he looked at the majestic corpse with a complicated expression. The crisis of the world beasts has been solved by Rorschach. Why did the original universe still pull my body here? He frowned slightly, and after a while, he shook his head and said to himself, forget it, it's just right that my divine body came over. After all, that inheritance can only be passed on to Luo Feng here, which is the safest place. Having said this, he thought of Rorschach, and couldn't help but raise his head, looking past the huge corpse and looking into the depths of endless chaos. I don't know what is happening to that little guy Rorschach on the origin continent now. If he and the grown-up Luo Feng should be able to help me take revenge. Thinking of his enemy, Mountain Rider gritted his teeth. If it weren't for the three god kings of the Food Kingdom, his teacher, his senior brother, his wife, how could they have fallen? Well. Sighing, Sitting Mountain Guest calmed down his mood, looked at his former body again, and whispered expectantly, Luo Feng, grow up quickly. At present, the Mountain Guest who is only in the realm of true gods can only place his hope on Luo Feng and Luoxia. Because the potential of his body is too low. Even if you have the memories of the past, it is very difficult to practice again and become a god king. And Luo Feng, who was mentioned by the Mountain Guest, is currently practicing in seclusion in the Galaxy Holy Land. What Luo Feng is practicing now is the 6 paths of reincarnation taught to him by Luoxia. Before becoming the Lord of the Universe, Luo Feng's life gene had reached the perfect level. After he breaks through and becomes the Lord of the Universe, he can break through the limitations of the original universe and continue to improve his life genes. It's just that it's extremely difficult. The secret book of 9 tribulations given to Luo Feng by Mountain Guest could not allow him to cultivate his life gene to a level 100,000 times higher. In the original work, Luo Feng also studied various races of life in the cosmic sea, and even came into contact with the life genes of world beasts. Only then did he break the limit and increase the life genes to 100,000 times. But now that Luoxia has 6 paths of reincarnation, Luo Feng doesn't have to go through as much trouble as in the original work. As long as he practices 6 paths of reincarnation step by step, his life genes can gradually improve and evolve. It's just that the process will be very slow. Oh, I want to say something else. Now the entire Galaxy Holy Land has been moved into Rorschach's small universe, and the space where Luo Feng is located is directly accelerated by Rorschach tens of millions of times. With Luoxia's help, Luo Feng's life genes improved rapidly. However, he is still far away from becoming the second being at the genetic level of 100,000 times life. According to Luo Feng's own estimation, it would take at least trillions of epochs before he could possibly increase his life gene to 100,000 times. Now that Luo Feng has completed his training, he has withdrawn from the special space that accelerates time and returned to his temple. Uncle. In Luo Feng's temple, Tu Tuo was practicing with Luo Feng's other disciples. Seeing Luo Feng suddenly appear, he immediately saluted and greeted him. After Rorschach left the original universe, Tu Tuo's education work was handed over to his eldest brother Luo Feng by Rorschach. Luo Feng nodded to Tu Tuo, and then looked at his disciple. Over the years, Luo Feng has also accepted several disciples. With his help, the strength of these disciples has improved rapidly. For example, the first disciple Nake is now a king-level immortal. Luo Feng taught his disciples here for a while before leaving and returning to Earth. Earth home. Their parents are not at home, and they are traveling to the original universe again. Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo, who have become immortals, do not like to practice, so after becoming immortal and having eternal life, they no longer practice, but like to travel everywhere. Luo Xia and Luo Feng were very relieved when the two elders traveled to the original universe. With the primitive universe around, no one dared to attack them. Even if someone dared to attack Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo, the primitive universe had the means to protect them. It can be said that in the original universe, protected by the original will of the original universe, Luo Xia's parents are the most difficult immortals to kill. Even the strongest person in the universe cannot even think of killing Luo Hongguo and Gong Xinlan in the original universe. In addition to his parents not being at home, his second brother and his sister-in-law Zhennan were also not there. Now Luo Hua and Zhennan are also immortals. Like Gong Xinlan and Luo Hongguo, they don't like to practice. After using various cultivation resources to upgrade their realm to immortality, they no longer continue to practice and focus on other things. For example, Luo Hua is now the most successful investor and financial giant in the entire human race. His words can even cause fluctuations in the entire human financial market and affect the capital flow of countless galaxies. Zhennan fell in love with fashion after giving birth to many children for Luo Hua. Now she is a very famous fashion designer among the human race. Many clothing styles from the earth have become popular among the entire human race again after Zhennan's designs. Of course, this influence still involves the factors of Rorschach and Luo Feng. Because Rorschach is now the only being in the human race who has transcended reincarnation, the human race has almost put Rorschach on the altar, just like those strong men in the Purple Moon Holy Land crazily admired the ancestor of the Purple Moon. Many strong men in the human race also crazily admired him. Rorschach. It can be said that the combined prestige of the original ancestor, the founder of Giant Axe, and the Lord of Chaos City is not as high as Rorschach alone. His parents, second brother, and sister-in-law were all gone, and the children were wandering around in the primitive universe. Luo Feng had been loving his wife for a long time. On the soft big bed, Su Xian lay on Luo Feng's thick and broad chest, with a blush after exercise on her face, which was extremely touching. Luo Feng stroked his wife's silky hair. After venting his energy, he was now in a calm state of mind. I wonder how Xioxia is doing in the origin continent. Su Xian suddenly looked up at her husband's chin and asked, "Do you have any news about Xioxia now?" "I contacted him last time and said that he had entered a place called Moyun City and met a strange woman." Luo Feng smiled and shared what he knew with his wife. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 482. Meet a strange woman. Su Xian raised her body with great interest, and a touch of whiteness immediately appeared. Luo Feng subconsciously pulled up the quilt to cover his wife's exposed parts. Su Xian also pulled up the quilt, then found a more comfortable position to lie in Luo Feng's arms, and asked curiously, What kind of strange woman? Luo Feng said, wearing a veil, he looks very similar to us earthlings. Xioxia said that the other person has beautiful eyes and long black hair. Su Xian blinked and said with a smile, Xiao Xia is not tempted, right? Tempted, Luo Feng couldn't help laughing when he heard this. Who knows about that kid? Do you still remember Janet? Janet. Su Xian thought for a while, and thanks to her immortal brain, she quickly remembered that extremely beautiful and charming Western woman. Nodding, Su Xian said, I remember, when you and Xioxia were not much exploring the universe, Janet often came to our house to play. At that time, Janet seemed to like Xioxia, right? Yes, Luo Feng nodded, Janet likes Xiao Xia very much. Unfortunately, Xiao Xia is focused on practicing and is completely unaware of Janet's feelings. After a pause, Luo Feng said hesitantly, actually, apart from Janet, it seems that teacher Zhang Fang also has a very special feeling for Xioxia. Ah! Su Xian's eyes widened slightly. She didn't expect to hear the gossipy love stories here from her husband. She immediately asked excitedly, Teacher Zhang Fang? I remember this is when you and Xioxia entered the elite training camp. Finally, the teacher who is responsible for your two cultivation, right? She, also has emotional entanglements with Xioxia? It's not an emotional entanglement, right? Luo Feng scratched his chin, it's just that back then, teacher Zhang Fang seemed to like Xiao Xia. I often saw her looking at Xiao Xia in a daze. Teacher Zhang Fang is actually quite suitable for Xioxia. Although she is married, she is very beautiful, gentle, and strong. Su Xian said with a smile. It's just a pity, whether it's Janet or teacher Zhang Fang, Xioxia has missed it. Su Xian said with some pity. Luo Feng shook his head, my mother and father told Xiao Xia about this back then, but he was so focused on cultivation that he didn't care about his own emotional problems at all. It's because of him that our Earth and our human race can continue to be like this all the way, make great progress, otherwise. Hearing this, Su Xian nodded in agreement, but she said, husband, I think your contribution is also very big. It was you and Xioxia who worked hard outside, and my parents and I, as well as Xiaoping Xiaohe and the others, were able to have a life like today. Luo Feng smiled and said, I don't know if the woman Xiao Xia meets this time will make him fall in love. Who knows? Su Xian pressed her face against Luo Feng's chest, feeling her husband's strong heartbeat, and said with a smile, but if Xiao Xia and that girl can make it happen, my parents will be very happy. Speaking of which, wife, do you know the current situation of Janet and teacher Zhang Fang? Luo Feng suddenly asked. Chatting with his wife today brought back long-standing memories for Luo Feng. In his mind, he recalled his former partners, Gao Feng and Zhang Ke from the Fire Hammer team, Janet and Zhang Fang from the elite training camp. Those long-lasting memories made Luo Feng's expression become slightly dazed. It was obviously hundreds of thousands or tens of millions of years ago, time is accelerated, but now when I think of those memories, it feels like it just happened yesterday. Teacher Janet and Zhang Fang, Su Xian thought for a moment and shook her head, you don't have much contact with them, let alone me, but if you want to know, I can look it up. Su Xian said and immediately entered the virtual universe to inquire. Soon, she got the specific information about Janet and teacher Zhang Fang. I found information about them. Su Xian was a little surprised when she saw the information from these two people. She just heard her say. Janet seems to be a territory lord now, and is now going on a cosmic adventure on a planet in the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. As for teacher Zhang Fang, she is now an immortal strongman living on the earth. Janet is a domain lord? Teacher Zhang Fang is actually immortal? Luo Feng was not surprised by Janet's information. But he was very surprised about Zhang Fang's information. If I remember correctly, teacher Zhang Fang's qualifications are much worse than Janet. Even Janet did not become immortal, but teacher Zhongfang actually became immortal? Teacher Zhongfang actually became immortal. Luo Feng made a sound in surprise. Su Xian nodded and said, the information I have here shows that there is a mysterious person who has been sponsoring teacher Zhongfang and giving her all kinds of precious training resources. It is with those training resources that teacher Zhongfang became immortal. Luo Feng raised his eyebrows, looked at each other and subconsciously said, it can't be Xioxia, right? Su Xian pursed her lips and smiled and said, you have to ask Xioxia personally. Well, judging from the information obtained, since teacher Zhongfang's husband died in a big crisis, she has been single until now. Luo Feng blinked and lay down with his arms around his wife. He pressed her up and said, I'll ask Xioxia about this later. Now we. Su Xian gasped. Origin continent. Master. That's the entrance to the ruins. Under the guidance of the world beast by D, Luo Xia and Yakin saw a narrow space-time crack that was tens of millions of kilometers high and tens of thousands of kilometers wide. The terrible space-time crack annihilated the surrounding matter, causing the space to vibrate faintly. It looks like an eye. Because the strange halo produced by the annihilation of matter by the space-time crack made the location of the entire space-time crack look like a huge vertical pupil, which looked very spectacular. Luo Xia stared at the huge space-time crack and whispered, the annihilation power of this space-time crack can only be resisted by the Void True God. It seems that only the strong above the Void True God can enter it. Master, look, over there is the Mo clan, one of the 4 major families in Moyun City. I heard that Moyun City was founded by them and the Yun clan. Now, the person who serves as the lord of Moyun City and the head of the Mo clan is Mo Fantian of the Mo clan. The world beast by D has been wandering around Moyun City these days, and many intelligences have been found out. When he saw the crowd stationed in the distance, he immediately introduced Luo Xia and Yakin. Luo Xia looked at the Mo family and saw that there were thousands of people from the Mo family, but there were only more than 100 void true gods and 1 eternal true god. The Mo family is quite powerful. They can actually send out hundreds of void true gods and 1 eternal true god. Luo Xia said. The world beast by D said, after all, it is one of the most powerful families among the 4 families. It can still send out such a strong man. Master, what should we do now? What should we do? Luo Xia smiled, of course we go in. Otherwise, we will starve here. After he said that, he took Bai Di and Yakin and turned into a rainbow light, shooting into the long and huge space-time crack. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 484. On the vast and mysterious origin continent, various legends about the desolate time and space have been circulating. It was a space-time area full of terrible dangers, which made people talk about it. According to the ancient and long-standing records of the Duandong River, the desolate time and space is like a beast lurking in the darkness, which may open its bloody mouth at any time and swallow everything. It appears without any rules, often without warning, and suddenly tears open huge cracks in space and time. The crack is like a ferocious wound, exuding a heart-stopping aura. People can step into the unknown and dangerous realm through this weird rift in time and space. The moment Rorschach and the others stepped into the crack, they felt as if the whole world was spinning and twisting, as if a pair of invisible hands were arbitrarily kneading time and space. Immediately afterwards, the surrounding environment and time and space underwent earth-shaking changes. A second ago, they were still standing firmly on the vast and high sky of the origin continent, with the endless starry sky above their heads and the vast land beneath their feet. And in the next second, they had already stepped firmly on a piece of land that looked like the ruins of an ancient city. As far as the eye can see, There are heartbreaking ruins. Those once majestic and towering buildings have now collapsed to the ground and become piles of broken stones. The ruins of the palace are scattered everywhere, as if telling the story of its former splendor and glory. Among the rubble, you can also see some strange-shaped and dilapidated mechanical creations. Some of them are incomplete, and some are lying there quietly, as if they have been sleeping for thousands of years. The entire city is filled with a desolate and silent atmosphere, like a corner forgotten by time. It was obvious that there seemed to be no living creatures here for a long, long time, and the dead silence felt depressing and heavy. The smart eyes of the world beast Beatty looked around curiously, full of novelty about everything around him. Suddenly, his eyes froze, as if he had discovered something extraordinary. He waved his hand, and a powerful force spurted out, absorbing a fragment of golden light from the ruins not far away. Under the faint light in the sky of the ruins, the fragment exudes an intoxicating light, like a peerless treasure. Buzz buzz. The edge of the golden fragment was extremely sharp, like an indestructible blade. Just a slight tremor tore a small crack in the stable space-time. The crack was like a black lightning and disappeared in an instant. Owner. The world beast Beatty called to Rorschach, and Rorschach's deep gaze immediately turned to the golden fragment. After some sensing, he made a judgment and said slowly, "This should be a fragment of a Dominator-level treasure that fell." When Yakin on the side heard this, a wave of emotion surged in her heart. The Dominator-level treasure was an extremely precious existence, possessing unimaginable power and value. World Beast Beatty said excitedly at this time, "Master, I can sense the location of other fragments through this fragment." Luoxia smiled and ordered decisively, "Look for it. If they can collect all these fragments and successfully repair them, then they may obtain a master-level treasure." "Yes." World Beast Beatty responded excitedly, and then began to concentrate on using the fragments in his hands, trying to sense the location of other fragments. Luoxia took Yakin to slowly look around the dilapidated city. Every step they took seemed to be traveling through the long river of history. When they had walked almost a fifth of the area, Rorschach stopped and turned to look at Yakin, who had been silent. He asked softly, "Do you know which era this is a relic from?" Yakin shook her head slightly, with confusion in her eyes. Although she is a native of the origin continent and has lived on this land for a long time, facing the ruins of this ancient and mysterious city, she really cannot identify which era it belongs to. Rorschach did not expect to get a definite answer from Yakin. If he did not get an answer, he continued to focus on other things. He carefully observed everything around him, trying to find some clues about the city's past from these ruins. His eyes lingered on those dilapidated buildings, and his deep eyes seemed to span the long river of time. Through these buildings, he could see the figures of the people who once lived here. They continued to walk forward, taking every step with care and caution. While passing a collapsed palace, Rorschach suddenly discovered a stone slab engraved with strange runes. He knelt down and studied the stone slab carefully, trying to decipher the information contained in the runes on it. Yakin also came over. "Thunder Law," Rorschach whispered, his fingers gently stroking the runes, feeling the faint fluctuations they emitted. "This slate is like a circuit board on something. The secret pattern carved on it is about the laws of thunder. According to Rorschach's deduction, if the slate is complete, it can provide powerful thunder for something. Power energy. It should be a broken piece of some kind of mechanical creation." Rorschach stood up and carefully put away the slate, preparing to study it slowly later. If this thing is researched well, perhaps a mechanical flow creation that uses the source of law as power can be reproduced. Picking up the slate was a small episode. Luoxia and Yakin continued to shuttle through the city, and occasionally encountered some dangers hidden in the ruins. It was said to be danger, but it was more like a kind of defense when the city was still intact. Although the formation is now in dilapidated condition, it is still functioning. When we first entered the Mars base, we encountered a similar situation. Rorschach showed a look of recollection. The scene of going to the Mars base with Babida is still vivid in my mind. Now that Babida has obtained the evolutionary heart of the mechanical tribe, he has already become a feudal level immortal with the help of Rorschach. Even Hu Yanbo's strength was stronger than before his death. Now he is immortal at the king level. According to Hu Yanbo's talent of being able to create his own soul seal, he might be able to become the master of the universe in the future. While Rorschach was recalling the adventures he had with Babida, he and Yakin were solving the dangers posed by those broken formations. These dangers are not scary to Rorschach. He handles it easily. The world beast Beatty is also constantly sensing the location of other golden fragments. He kept traveling through the city, searching. While passing through a deep alley, Luoxia suddenly felt a vague aura. He stopped and looked around warily. "What's wrong, Lord Shen?" Yakin asked softly. "I feel a strange aura," Luoxia said in a voice transmission. This aura seemed to be non-existent. It was very strange and had an inexplicable power. At this moment, a black shadow suddenly jumped out from the depths of the alley and rushed towards them. Rorschach reacted quickly, with a flash of light in his hand, and a sharp sword appeared instantly. He swung the sword and slashed towards the black shadow. The black shadow nimbly avoided Rorschach's attack, then turned around and fled deeper into the alley. "Chase," Luoxia raised his eyebrows, "follow me and take a look." Then he took Yakin and chased towards the black shadow. They were speeding through the alley. The black shadow was extremely fast, like a bolt of lightning. But Rorschach and the others were not to be outdone and followed closely. Finally, at the end of the alley, they caught up with the black shadow. It turned out that it was a strange-looking creature with black fur, sharp claws, and a pair of shining red eyes. "What is this?" Yakin asked in surprise. She had not seen such a creature on the continent of origin. "I don't know, but it's definitely not easy for it to survive in this ruins," Rorschach whispered, sizing up the creature. "The appearance of the strange creature is very weird. It has a body like a spider. On the black body, limbs grow in all directions. The claws at the tail end are extremely sharp. The head is like a monkey. The black fur is like a steel needle, standing on end. Its surface looks like an angry pufferfish or a hedgehog." The creature seemed to feel their threat. It let out a low roar, waved its many limbs, and while cutting the space, its terrifying claws also rushed towards Rorschach and Yakin. Rorschach brandished his sword and launched into a fierce battle with this strange creature. This strange creature is not very powerful. In Rorschach's view, there is only the true god level. But the opponent's life state is very strange, and it seems to have no soul. Even if Rorschach cuts off its limbs time and time again and is seriously injured, it can recover quickly. What a weird creature, it has no soul. Rorschach carefully observed this spider monkey during the battle. He temporarily named it, and wondered in his mind, could it be some kind of mechanical creation? Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 485. While Nerosha was fighting fiercely with the strange creatures, outside the space-time rift, the four major families of Moyun City had all arrived. What was presented in front of them was a vast and barren area, with the ground showing a dark tone, as if it had experienced countless years of vicissitudes and polishing. This was a manifestation of the ruins in the outside world. Some strange low plants grew sparsely on the land, their branches twisted, telling the mystery and weirdness of this land. In the distance, the rolling mountains were looming, the peaks towering into the clouds, the tops covered with white snow, and the cold light flashed under the sunlight. Between the mountains, clouds and mist were lingering. In the near distance, with the space-time rift as the center, the teams of the four major families were neatly arranged. The flags of each family were flying high, and the patterns on the flags were fluttering in the wind. The family members wore the iconic costumes of their respective families, some of which were gorgeous and solemn, and some were simple and practical. Their expressions were serious and solemn, and their eyes were fixed on the terrifying space-time crack. There was a strange fluctuation in the air around the crack, and countless invisible energies were surging. This fluctuation caused the surrounding light to distort, giving people a sense of illusion. There were colorful lights flashing in the crack, sometimes strong and sometimes weak. The four major families were very fast because they had the eternal true God leading them. After Luoxia and his team entered the ruins, they also quickly arrived at the space-time crack. Other forces, due to the lack of the eternal true God leading the team, moved very slowly. According to estimates, it would take another day or two to reach the mysterious space-time crack. At this moment, the leaders of the four major families were gathering together. Their position was the focus of this space, and everything around them was vaguely centered on them. Their eyes all looked at the terrifying space-time crack, which was like a hideous giant mouth, as if it could swallow everything at any time. A strange light flickered in the cracks, and every flicker of the light seemed to tell of unknown dangers and secrets. The leader of the Yun clan, the eternal true God, was named Yungxiao. He was tall and straight, and his flowing white robe danced in the wind, as if blending into the surrounding clouds. His face was handsome and resolute, and his eyes revealed a deep wisdom and determination. In his hand, he held a long shuttle shining with lightning, a treasure of the eternal true God level, the Cloud Shuttle, which symbolized his authority and power. The leader of the Mo clan, the eternal true God Mo Wuhan, was burly and exuded a calm aura. His face was as cold as a knife, and his eyebrows were slightly wrinkled, revealing a deep thought. He was dressed in a dark suit with complex runes embroidered on it, showing the unique craftsmanship and heritage of the Mo clan, and held a black spear in his hand. The leader of the Nong tribe, the eternal true God, is called Nong Wangkang, with a tough face like a knife and an axe, and a tall and straight figure. The leader of the Yao tribe, the eternal true God, is called Yao Shizhen, with a thin body and a divine ring like Saturn's ring behind his head. Yungxiao looked at Mo Wuhan of the Mo tribe and asked, "You are the first to come here, but did you see the strange eternal true God?" "I saw it." Mo Wuhan nodded. "After the eternal true God named Sun Wukong came here, he took his servants directly into the space-time rift without any hesitation. The ruins in the desolate space-time are extremely dangerous. Even the Lord of Chaos may fall in it. Sun Wukong is so reckless. Even if he goes in first, I'm afraid he won't get any benefits." The eternal true God of the Nong tribe, Nong Wangkang, snorted coldly and said. Yao Shizhen of the Yao clan was not concerned about Luoxia's affairs, but just asked, "The appearance of this relic will soon spread throughout the entire Luoxia state. What do you think? Will you cooperate?" As soon as this question was asked, everyone couldn't help but look at each other. Although the ruins of the desolate time and space are extremely dangerous, the opportunities are also great. However, such a relic is not something that any of their families can grasp. In order to maximize the benefits, only their four major families can unite. If they don't unite, when other forces in the chaos state arrive here, they may not even be qualified to drink soup. After all, the power of the four major families in Moyun City is not ranked in the entire Luoxia state. The leaders of the four major families, the eternal true God, knew it very well, so they all waited for each other tacitly. Soon, the four major families discussed most of the details of the union. After some discussion, the final arrangement was as follows: Yun Xiao of the Yun clan and Nong Wangkang of the Nong clan, two eternal true gods, led a total of 676 void true gods from the four major families to explore the ruins. Mo Wuhan of the Mo clan and Yao Shizhen of the Yao clan led a total of 40,000 true gods from the four major families to guard outside the space-time rift. After making arrangements, Yun Xiao and Nong Wangkang led 676 void true gods into the space-time rift. The space-time rift of the ruins has extremely terrifying pressure. This kind of pressure can only be endured by the strong ones of the void, true gods and above. If the true gods dare to step into it, they will be crushed into powder in minutes. Just when Yun Xiao and his team entered the space-time rift, Luo Xia and others saw an extremely majestic and huge mechanical creation, a humanoid mecha leaning against the towering mountains. The reason why they were able to discover this humanoid mecha was that they followed the strange creature before. Just like the strange creature is the guard robot of this humanoid mecha. Rorschach and the others looked up at this huge and majestic mecha. It is generally black with golden lines, and it is rich in a noble temperament in its deepness. It is like a sleeping giant, its body is already dilapidated, especially the chest part, which is completely destroyed. A large number of fragments and lines are exposed to the air, and a huge dark golden war blade is like a mountain range beside the mecha giant. The world beast Baidi, who has collected 16,000 fragments, looked at the huge and incomplete dark golden war blade and said to Rorschach, "Master, these fragments seem to have fallen from this war blade." "That's right," Rorschach nodded and looked at Baidi. "Have you found them all?" "I should have found them all," the world beast Baidi nodded. "I can no longer sense the fluctuations of other fragments in the ruins." Rorschach heard this and suddenly stretched out his hand, and saw that the huge war blade like a mountain range slowly floated, and the earth was shaking. Luo Xia took a step forward, and immediately transformed into a body of hundreds of millions of kilometers, holding the huge battle blade in his hand. "Give me the fragments," Luo Xia said to the world beast Baidi. Baidi immediately threw all the fragments in his hand to Luo Xia. More than 16,000 fragments flew into Luo Xia's hands like meteors. "Merge," as Luo Xia's thunderous voice sounded, those golden fragments merged towards the huge battle blade in his hand. Ka. Soon, the broken battle blade in Luo Xia's hand was restored to its original state. Of course, Luo Xia is now just forcibly merging these fragments with the battle blade. If he wants to completely repair it, he needs other materials and a master of refining like Zhou Shank to repair it. Swish. Luo Xia waved the battle blade in his hand slightly, and the huge battle blade immediately gushed out golden flames, tearing the void. Buzz. At this moment, the eyes of the broken humanoid mecha suddenly lit up. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 486. Rorschach, who was holding the warblade, seemed to have anticipated the movement of the humanoid mecha. At the moment when his dark golden eyes lit up, his big hand had already been stretched out, covering the sky and hanging above the humanoid mecha. The next moment, the secret patterns of manifested laws poured down like raindrops. The secret pattern of law is like the divine chain of order, binding the huge humanoid mecha. Invade, attack. The humanoid mecha has long been extremely damaged, and even its driving energy has been destroyed. Therefore, although it is a mechanical creation at the level of chaos dominance, it now has no ability to move. When Rorschach used his means to restrain it, the huge black body outlined with golden threads immediately made a mechanical sound of clicking, and golden flames burst out from the joints, and sparks exploded. In the distance, everyone in Yungxiao who had entered the ruins noticed the movement here and rushed over quickly. Not long after, they saw Rorschach uniforming a humanoid mecha. That's a Chaos Dominator level mechanical creation. After just one glance, Lu and Wangkang saw the preciousness of the humanoid mecha, and said with great enthusiasm, if this mechanical flow creation is fused with it, it can directly obtain the strength of the Chaos Dominator. Even if it is not fused, it can also explode with dominating power on its own. None of their four major families is at the level of a Chaos Master. If they could get such a treasure, it would be a huge improvement for them. It's the eternal true God. Yungxiao also saw the Chaos Dominator level humanoid mecha, but his attention was focused more on Luo Xia. He saw with his own eyes how Rorschach killed an eternal true God of the 8th level, and he was very jealous and afraid of Rorschach. Seeing Luo Xia trying to identify the master-shaped mecha at this time, Yun Xiao secretly backed down. He and Luan Wangkang were both eternal true gods at the 5th level. Facing Luo Xia, who was suspected to be the eternal true god at the 10th level, there was no chance of winning. But Lung Wangkang doesn't know. Yung Xiao, you and I join hands to snatch that Chaos Dominator level mecha. Luan Wangkang said, and immediately launched an attack on Rorschach, because if Rorschach was not interrupted, the mecha would be successfully recognized by Rorschach. The manifested secret pattern of the law was currently rewriting the core program of the mecha. Sun Wukong. Let go of the mecha. Long Wangkang roared angrily and struck out a ball that looked like a star. This round bead contains the origin of the law, lingering with the strong breath of wood. When approaching Rorschach, the breath of wood is like natural gas meeting a spark, suddenly erupting, and extremely hard vines grow from the round bead. He came out and wrapped around Rorschach in an attempt to stop Rorschach. Yung Xiao. He looked at Long Wangkang in astonishment. You really want to die? Don't take me with you. The other party is suspected to be the eternal true god of the 10th level, and the eternal true god of the 8th level of the Black Crow killing society is like killing chickens and dogs. Why do you think that the two of us can defeat each other by joining forces? Yun Xiao was going crazy and didn't know what to do. Seeing that Luan Wangkang's attack was about to hit Luo Xia, in the distance, the world beast Beatty showed his power. He dodged and blocked the path of the vine attack, and the dark star ring blade of Ghost Crow God Lord appeared in his hand. Tisk tisk tisk. The dark star ring blade was struck out by the world beast Beatty, cutting the void. The vines growing out of the ball were cut off instantly and fell to the ground. Luan Wangkang saw that his attack was blocked by the world beast Beatty, and his expression did not change at all. It was just a test. However, the world beast Beatty, a true god of the void, could block his own blow, which also made Luan Wangkang slightly surprised. Get away! Luan Wangkang shouted, and controlled the ball again, only to see the aura of the ball change, and endless flames spurted out, turning hundreds of millions of miles around into a sea of fire in an instant, and the blazing temperature distorted the void of heaven and earth. Stand up! Burn! Blazing dragon! Roar! As Luan Wangkang's voice fell, two giant flame dragons with a length of tens of millions of kilometers emerged from the terrifying sea of fire. They roared and charged towards the world beasts Beatty and Luo Xia. The flame dragon is arrogant and possesses the power originating from the law of fire. The ultimate destruction cannon. Faced with the attacking flame dragon, the world beast Beatty opened his mouth, and saw the terrifying destructive energy immediately condensed in his mouth, as if there was an extra star in his mouth that was about to burst. Blooming with endless dazzling brilliance. The next moment, destructive energy spurted out from the mouth of the world beast Beatty, like a vast torrent, instantly bombarding the flame dragon's body. Boom! The collision between the two is essentially the collision between the origin of the law of fire and the origin of destruction. In an energy impact that is enough to annihilate time and space, it is the source of destruction that is more terrifying after all. I saw that the center of the collision was like a supernova explosion, the universe collapsed and exploded. Endless energy swept in all directions like a tide. The flame dragon was instantly destroyed by the torrent, shattered in an instant, and disappeared without a trace. Long Wangkang was shocked. How is that possible? He is the eternal true God, and the secret method he uses with the help of the ball contains the source of infinite power. The silver-haired man opposite seemed to be just a void true God. How could he directly destroy his attack in a head-on confrontation? Yun Xiao could see clearly that although the silver-haired man only had the strength of the true God of the void, he had extremely rare mastery of the source of destruction. The power of this source of power was stronger than the power of many law sources. Although Luan Wangkang is the eternal true God, firstly, when he attacked, he divided his power into two parts. One part was used to deal with the world beast Beatty, and the other part was used to deal with Luo Xia, thus weakening his own power. Secondly, he was destroying the power of the source is greater than the power of the law of fire used by Luan Wangkang, so it can naturally destroy his attack head-on. Buzz. When the attack energy of the world beasts Beatty and Luan Wangkang disappeared between heaven and earth, a strange mechanical sound sounded. Everyone subconsciously looked towards the humanoid mecha. The chest was broken, various circuits were exposed, and the core data of the broken and fragmented mecha had been successfully modified by Rorschach. Now, there was no hostility towards Rorschach in the dark golden eyes that lit up. The power source is completely destroyed. Luo Xia looked at the broken chest of the humanoid mecha and whispered, "Fortunately, when I was studying the rules, I learned some weapon refining techniques. Although I can't completely repair it now, it's enough to make me move." As he spoke, divine power began to gather in his huge palm. Not long after, a 10,081-sided divine power crystal was successfully condensed. Rorschach sent the divine power crystal into the broken chest of the humanoid mecha. The crystal burst out with bright light, and divine power lines extended from the crystal, connecting with the broken lines of the humanoid mecha. Rumble. The humanoid mecha that was hundreds of millions of kilometers tall stood up. Combined. It made a mechanical sound, and the next moment, its black base, outlined with golden lines, and its body with silver armor bloomed with endless brilliance. These brilliance illuminated Rorschach. In an instant, Rorschach disappeared from everyone's sight, and the humanoid mecha merges into one. Long Wangkang looked at the scene in horror. Yung Xiao. As the eternal true God who leads the Yun tribe, he also has a constipated and dead expression at the moment. It's fine now. He couldn't beat Rorschach in the first place. Now that the opponent is driving a humanoid mecha, even if the mecha is broken, it is unlikely that it can exert the power of the Chaos Dominator when it was intact, but it is definitely not an existence that I and Luan Wangkang can handle now. Yung Xiao looked at Luan Wangkang fiercely. They are all this idiot. If he hadn't been impulsive, how could things have happened? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 487. Dark Star Destruction Strike Type 6. After merging with the humanoid mecha, Rorschach immediately knew the name of this mecha. The Dark Star Destruction Strike Type 6 is a Chaos Master class mecha manufactured by the Dark Star Kingdom that has disappeared in the long river of time. Once upon a time, the Dark Star Kingdom even produced a God King level mecha. But that mecha had been annihilated along with the fall of the Dark Star God King during the Great Battle in the Dark Star Kingdom. Even this Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha survived. The other two Chaos Dominator level mechas were completely destroyed in the war that year. The ruins where Luo Xia and the others are now are the land of the former Dark Star Kingdom. It's a pity that most of the core data has been destroyed over the long years. Otherwise, we would know what kind of war it was that allowed a kingdom of God that was good at mechanical creation to be destroyed like this. Luo Xia whispered and looked at Luan Wangkang and Yung Xiao not far away. Behind these two people, there were also many void true gods. With the assistance of the mecha, his perspective was very strange. Not only could he clearly see the physical data of Luan Wangkang and Yung Xiao, but he could also deduce their fighting methods and habits. Clang. Luo Xia didn't have any nonsense. If Luo Wangkang dared to attack him, he would be dead. The warblade waved. Dark Star Destroy Strike 6's arms, back, and legs spurted out golden flames. In the fiery impact, he seemed to teleport, spanning tens of millions of kilometers in an instant, and the huge warblade was already facing his head. Lung Wangkang chops it down. No. Luan Wangkang roared, trying to resist the attack of the warblade. Yung Xiao on the side was trapped, so he could only use his own strength to help Luan Wangkang resist Luo Xiao's attack. Although Yun Xiao didn't want to be an enemy of Luo Xia at all. But right now, the Yun clan and the Lung clan are in an alliance. If they don't save their lives at this time, the Yun clan will never be able to gain a foothold in Moyun City in the future. Yun Xiao waved his big hand, and a shield like a turtle shell immediately grew from small to large, blocking Luo Xiao's sword. Luan Wangkang also unleashed his divine power and resisted with Yung Xiao. When? A bang. After all, the war blade was damaged. Although it was temporarily repaired by Rorschach, its power was greatly reduced. It bombarded the turtle shell shield without breaking the defense. Rorschach didn't care either. The attack he launched was purely to test the power of the Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha, and his own power was not used at all. Otherwise, with his own strength and the strength of the mecha, even if the turtle shell shield is chaos level, it will not be able to withstand his attack. Boom boom boom. Yung Xiao and Luan Wangkang were bombarded and took a few steps back. Before they could stand firm, the mecha had already broken through the ground. Accelerated by the flames spurting from its legs, it kicked with infinite power and slammed into Luan Wangkang's body. With a muffled bang, Luan Wangkang was kicked out. Luan Wangkang's body flew out like a cannonball and hit the ground in the distance, splashing a cloud of smoke and dust. Rorschach controlled the Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha, without any pause, and with a flash of his body, he rushed into the sky like a ghost. Yung Xiao was shocked. He didn't expect Luo Xia to be so fast, and he quickly raised his turtle shell shield to defend himself. However, the speed of the mecha was beyond his imagination, and it was in front of him in an instant. The legs of the Dark Star Destruction Assault 6 mecha ejected golden flames again, pushing the mecha to spin sideways at an incredible speed, dodging Yung Xiao's hasty attack while swinging out his right arm like a gust of wind. Smashing into the sky with unparalleled power. Yun Xiao only had time to place his shield in front of him before he was hit by this huge force. With a sound of boom, he felt as if he was hit by a star, and his whole body flew backwards. The turtle shell shield in his hand also had slight cracks. But Luo Xia didn't give Yung Xiao a chance to breathe. The mecha turned back in mid-air and chased after him like a shadow. The Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha showed amazing agility, constantly changing its posture in the air and avoiding various attacks from Yung Xiao. At this time, Rorschach was completely immersed in the integration with the mecha. He could clearly feel every movement of the mecha and every transmission of power. This feeling of being in control made him raise his eyebrows slightly, and he drove the mecha to maximize its power and speed. Whoosh! The mecha turned into a dark golden stream of light and instantly appeared above Yun Xiao's head, and the huge war blade slashed down again with an aura of destruction. There was a look of despair in Yun Xiao's eyes. He had tried his best, but he still couldn't resist this terrifying attack. Just when the war blade was about to hit him, a ray of light shot out from a distance and blocked Yung Xiao. The light dissipated, revealing the panting appearance of Long Wangkang. Luo Xia controlled the mecha without stopping at all. The sword turned and attacked Luan Wangkang. Luan Wangkang's expression changed. He didn't expect Luo Xia to be so cruel, and he quickly launched an attack to resist. However, the power of the Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha is too powerful, and every attack is as heavy as Mount Tai. The action of the mecha was like a gust of wind, and the sword was swung, crushing Luan Wangkang's attacks one by one. Luan Wangkang complained endlessly. He did not expect that the broken mecha could exert such terrifying power after being slightly repaired. He found that it was difficult for him to cope with the mecha's attack. Puff. Under the powerful attack of the mecha, Nong Wangkang was finally hit, spitting out blood and retreating. Nong Wangkang, you killed us. Yung Xiao's angry voice sounded. In this terrible battle, the void true god they led could not intervene at all. Because the aftermath of Luo Xia's battle alone was enough to kill any void true god present. Seeing that Luo Xia was about to launch an attack, Yung Xiao quickly begged for mercy, Sun Wukong Shangzun, please spare our lives. We know we are wrong, we are willing to pay any price. When the void true gods saw Yung Xiao begging for mercy, they were secretly terrified. This void true god who had just arrived in Moyun City was so powerful that even Yung Xiao Shenjun and Nong Wangkang Shenjun could not defeat him together. Luo Xia stopped the action of the mecha and looked at them coldly. Any price? Then I want to hear what you can give me to satisfy me. Yung Xiao gritted his teeth and said, I am willing to hand over all the treasures in my treasure house, including various precious artifacts and magic medicines. Luo Xia snorted coldly, that's all? It's far from enough. At this time, Nong Wangkang was full of regret. He thought that he could easily control Luo Xia by joining forces with Yung Xiao, but he didn't expect to kick the iron plate, and now he is in such a desperate situation. Yung Xiao's forehead was full of sweat. He knew that if he couldn't satisfy Luo Xia today, they would all die without a burial place. I can also tell you about a secret realm I know. It was a secret realm I accidentally discovered when I went out on an adventure. Because it was too dangerous, I have never told anyone and have never entered it. Luo Xia glanced at Yung Xiao. Yung Xiao's scalp tingled. He had seen how Luo Xia killed the ghost crow god. He didn't want to be an enemy of Luo Xia. He didn't expect that he would be brought to such a situation by Nong Wangkang, a pig teammate. He hated Nong Wangkang to death. He was not afraid of godly opponents, but he was afraid of idiot teammates. The Chaos Overlord level mecha was indeed very precious and very important to their 4 major families. But before taking action, you should also weigh yourself first to see if you have the strength to get involved. Yung Xiao glared at Nong Wangkang fiercely and shouted angrily, it's all your fault. If you hadn't insisted on being an enemy of Lord Luo Xia, why would we be here? Suddenly, Luo Xia swung his battle blade and slashed at Nong Wangkang. Nong Wangkang turned around and wanted to escape. But Luo Xia would never give him this opportunity. The Dark Star Destruction Assault 6 mechas started instantly and caught up with Nong Wangkang like a ghost. The mecha raised the battle blade and chopped it down fiercely. Nong Wangkang frantically mobilized his divine power and tried to resist, but in front of the powerful force of the mecha, his resistance seemed so pale and powerless. The Warblade, with its unrivaled momentum, directly split Nong Wangkang's body in two. The power of destruction directly destroyed Nong Wangkang's divine body and annihilated his soul. Yung Xiao subconsciously looked up at the sky, but did not see the scene of star shattering. Because this is no longer in the time and space of the origin continent. But in the outside world, Mo Wuhan and Yao Shizhen clearly saw the scene of Nong Wangkang's small universe shattering. Yao Shizhen was shocked, Nong Wangkang is dead. Mo Wuhan frowned and whispered, it seems that this ruins is more dangerous than we thought. Prepare to meet Yung Xiao and others. I hope he can come out of the ruins alive and bring us key information. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 489. Master, are we going to let go of the eternal true god of the Yun clan like this? Watching Yung Xiao retreat with the remaining true god of the void, World Beast Beatty scratched his head and asked Luo Xia. Rorschach smiled and said, he is more useful alive than dead. With that said, he flew deeper into the ruins, let's go. I learned from the core data of the mecha that there may be a more powerful inheritance deeper into the ruins. Searched Kan on Google. When the world beast Beatty heard this, he and Yakin immediately followed Luo Xia and flew deeper into the ruins. At the location of the rift in time and space, Yung Xiao has led the still living true god of the void away from the ruins. On the origin continent, Yao Shizhen and Mo Wuhan greeted him. Yao Shizhen asked, how did Luan Wangkang die? Yung Xiao smiled sadly and replied. As soon as we entered, we met the eternal true God named Sun Wukong. At that time, he was subduing a Chaos Master level mecha. Luan Wangkang got the idea and wanted to join forces with me to fight for it. As a result, Sun Wukong's servant was very powerful. One person blocked the attacks of Luan Wangkang and me, allowing Sun Wukong to obtain the Chaos Dominator level mecha. Mo Wuhan frowned when he heard this and questioned, I remember that Sun Wukong's servant is only in the realm of the true God of the Void, right? Can he block the attacks of the two of you? Yun Xiao shook his head and smiled bitterly, and said, you don't know, although that servant is the true God of Void, his realm has definitely reached the 10th level. He is only one step away from becoming the eternal true God. And he also controls a trace of the source of destruction. The origin of destruction. Yao Shizhen had a solemn look on his face. Among all the original powers, the source of destruction is the top and the most difficult to master. Any strong man who has mastered the power of the source of destruction will not be an ordinary person. Yao Shizhen said, such a true God of the Void who has mastered the origin of destruction is actually willing to be a servant of others. Yun Xiao hesitated slightly before telling what he had seen before about Luo Xia killing the Ghost Crow God Lord. After hearing this, Yao Shizhen and Mo Wuhan looked at each other in shock. The Black Crow Society may not be well known in other chaos states, but in this chaos state of Jiao, everyone knows about it. In the Black Crow Society, the Ghost Crow Divine Lord can be regarded as the eternal true God ranked in the top 3 in terms of strength, except for the Black Crow Lord. 3,000 years ago, Lord Ghost Crow fought with the 9th level eternal true God from another chaos continent. At that time, there was only 8th level Lord Ghost Crow, but he fought alone and defeated the 9th level eternal true God with his own strength. Because of this incident, the name of Lord Ghost Crow was spread throughout Jiao Chaos State and even the entire Chayan Kingdom. Who doesn't know how powerful Ghost Crow God is? At least Yun Xiao, Yao Shizhen, and Mo Wuhan who were present were not sure that they could defeat the Ghost Crow God Lord. But such a powerful eternal true God has now died at the hands of the eternal true God named Sun Wukong. After hearing the news from Yun Xiao, Mo Wuhan, and Yao Shizhen were speechless for a moment. They didn't know how to express the shock in their hearts. At the same time, they also understood why the true God of the Void, who had mastered a trace of the origin of destruction, wanted to fight with Rorschach as a servant. The Master is so powerful, so it doesn't seem too surprising to have a powerful servant. Mo Wuhan was slightly silent and said, in other words, Your Excellency Sun Wukong got the Chaos Lord level mecha? Then he drove the mecha to defeat you and Luan Wangkang. Luan Wangkang died directly. Yun Xiao nodded, yes, I paid a huge price to let Monkey King spare my life. Is the Chaos Dominator level mecha intact? Yao Shizhen asked. Yun Xiao shook his head, the mecha was actually seriously damaged, but Lord Sun Wukong seemed to have a special repair method to temporarily drive the mecha, but in fact, even without that mecha, Luan Wangkang and I would not be his opponent. That's true. Mo Wuhan sighed. The opponent was a strong man who had killed the Ghost Crow Divine Lord. It was too easy to kill Luan Wangkang and Yun Xiao, who were only at the 5th level. Yun Xiao must have paid a huge price for escaping back. Yao Shizhen looked heavy for a while, then asked, what should we do now? Retreat? Or continue to explore the ruins? Yao Shizhen was a little undecided. After all, judging from Yun Xiao's description, behind this space-time rift are the remains of a city. The most precious treasure, the Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 mecha, has been collected by Rorschach. If they go to the ruins again, they may be able to find other treasures, but they will also easily get into disputes and conflicts with Rorschach. The 3 of them are all about the same strength, and they have no chance of winning against Luo Xia. Not long ago, I have received intelligence. The forces from other cities are already heading here. It will take a few days to arrive here. We still have the upper hand, and I do not agree to withdraw. As for that person Sun Wukong, we just need to avoid him. Mo Wuhan said. Hearing this, Yun Xiao and Yao Shizhen looked at each other and nodded. If we evacuate now, it will be difficult to explain to the family. Let's continue to send people to explore. The three eternal true gods discussed it and continued to send people into the cracks in time and space to explore. This time, Yun Xiao and Yao Shizhen led the team, while Mo Wuhan continued to guard outside the space-time rift, ready to respond to Yun Xiao and the others at any time. Soon, more than a month passed. In the past month or so, the remaining forces in Moyun City had arrived long ago. They greeted Mo Wuhan and entered the space-time rift directly. After the Moyun City forces arrived, there were forces from other areas of Li Hao's Chaos Continent. One of the teams from the ancient city included an eternal true god of the 9th level realm. The eternal true god who led the team asked Mo Wuhan. After consulting about the situation in the space-time rift, Bian led the team directly in. God Lord Manji, the deputy chief of the barbarian clan in the ancient city. Mo Wuhan watched the eternal true god of the 9th level leading more than 1,000 void true gods into the space-time rift, and murmured in a low voice with a somewhat surprised expression, I didn't expect that he would personally lead this expedition to the ruins. Thinking about it, he breathed a sigh of relief again. Fortunately, Moyun City, are close. I came first and took some of the advantages. Now, even if Manchi Shenjun comes, we have gained enough. In the ruined city behind the space-time rift, camps of various forces, large and small, are currently stationed. For the time being, these forces are still in a state of indifference. But one thing is for sure. If any incredible treasure appears in the ruins, battles and scrambles will take place on this ancient land. Nowadays, these forces are looking for possible treasures in the ruins of the city. Deeper in the ruins, Luo Xia and the others had already seen a huge temple that was as towering as a mountain, most of which was buried in the yellow sand. Master, here is. The world beast Beatty looked at the temple full of ancient and desolate atmosphere and asked Rorschach. Luo Xia raised his hand slightly, and the divine power like a tidal wave immediately poured out, brushing away a large amount of yellow sand on the temple. You can see that as the yellow sand dispersed, a strange metallic luster bloomed on the surface of the temple. This is the former temple of the Dark Star God King. Rorschach's voice echoed in this desolate world of yellow sand. Next to her, Yakin looked at the temple with faint eyes. As most of the yellow sand that buried the temple dissipated, those hideous wounds and broken parts were all exposed. These thrilling broken parts all told the tragedy of the war that year. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 490. Why are ruins in desolate time and space dangerous? In addition to the various mechanisms and dangers inherent in the ruins themselves, there are also dangers from the desolate time and space itself. In this desolate time and space, a powerful monster called the Desolate Beast will be born. These monsters, with the lowest strength, are all true gods. The highest level is the God King level. You never know when the wild beast will show up. But as soon as they appear, it means that you are being targeted by desolate beasts. If you do not evacuate the ruins of desolate time and space, those desolate beasts will continue to come to your door until you die in this desolate time and space, or from here. Get out. On this day, Yun Xiao and Yao Shizhen led teams to explore two areas of the ruined city, hoping to find some of the treasures or inheritance of the city's civilization. Suddenly, a huge phantom gradually turned from virtual to real. Yao Shizhen discovered it almost immediately. In the process of turning from virtual to real, the phantom gradually revealed its true image. It is like a huge white octopus. Its huge head blocks out the sky and the sun like a mushroom. It has tens of millions of tentacles, densely packed, connecting the sky and the earth. As the tentacles shake, an invisible and strange force is like a lake, spread out like ripples. Desolate beast. Yao Shizhen's face was ugly, and he didn't think much about it. While the other void gods were still stunned, wondering what this sudden creature was, Yao Shizin's roar had spread throughout the entire area. "Let's go." The moment the words fell, Yao Shizin's divine power enveloped their Yao tribe's true god of the void and fled in a direction away from the octopus beast. However, Yao Shizin didn't escape far at all. The tentacles of the octopus beast escaped into the void, as if they were inserted into the water, and suddenly appeared on the route that Yao Shizin must pass, and wrapped around him head-on. Break! Yao Shizin roared, and the star ring behind his head burst into bright light. The powerful earth source power exploded, the earth shook, and the pointed peaks tens of thousands of kilometers directly rose up, bombarding the entangled tentacles. Boom! Just like the falling tentacles of the Optimus pillar colliding with the rising and piercing pointed peaks of the earth, terrifying energy exploded. In an instant, the void true god who was close was swept away by the aftermath and turned into fly ash. Dissipated between heaven and earth. Click, squeak squeak. Although the pointed peak rising from Yao Shizin contains the power of the origin of earth, the power of this desolate beast is extremely strange. When the two collide, it can actually make the power of the origin of earth recede. The towering mountain peak he was immediately entangled by huge tentacles, and huge dust rocks fell like rain. In just a few moments, Yao Shizin's peak was destroyed by the tentacles. Yao Shizin was extremely frightened. He unexpectedly encountered the eternal true god-level desolate beast. No. When he was frightened, the remaining tentacles of the octopus beast had already escaped into the void, as if passing through a wormhole, and instantly arrived at Yao Shizin's side, sealing the time and space he was in, making it impossible for Yao Shizin to teleport and tear apart space. Boom! He saw the tentacles of the desolate beast wrapping around Yao Shizin. Yao Shizin struggled hard and struck out his treasure, but he still could not stop the powerful tentacles of the desolate beast. He was entangled in an instant, and then the desolate beast tightened its tentacles. In the magnificent scene of broken time and space, Yao Shizin's the divine body was directly broken. Hidden in Yao Shizin's heart of true God, he wanted to escape. But the wild beast just stretched out its tentacles, like a straight spear, piercing straight into the heart of Yao Shizin's true God. Boom! As the power of the wild beast was injected into the heart of the true God, the heart of the true God immediately expanded, and then exploded like a big explosion in the universe. Even the soul was blown to annihilation, and there was no longer any possibility of survival. At the moment Yao Shizin died, the other true gods of the void were also killed and devoured by wild beasts. The continent of origin, where the cracks in time and space are. Mo Wuhan subconsciously looked towards the sky and saw the scene of the small universe representing Yao Shizin exploding. He was slightly stunned and murmured to himself, Yao Shizin is also dead. Did Sun Wukong take action again? Or was it Man Chi Shenjun? It's not good. At this moment, the incarnation of Yung Xiao's divine power informed Mo Wuhan, the desolate beast has appeared. Yao Shizin was killed by the desolate beast. What? Mo Wuhan looked stunned. The wild beast appeared. How is it possible? How long has it been? How could the wild beast appear? According to the information collected by the major forces on the desolate time and space, desolate beasts are ferocious beasts bred in desolate time and space. They will appear randomly after sensing the aura of the creatures from the origin continent, and hunt down all the creatures from the origin continent that enter the desolate time and space, but they have never appeared so quickly. According to the information collected before, it will take at least 3 months for the wild beast to appear. But now, less than 2 months have passed. How could the wild beast appear so quickly? Mo Wuhan murmured to himself that once the desolate beast appears, it means that the danger in the ruins will increase greatly. Even the Chaos Lord and even the God King may fall. I'm going to take my people out first. The incarnation of Yung Xiao's divine power said to Mo Wuhan. The area he led the team to search was adjacent to the area where Yao Shizhen was, so when Yao Shizhen was fighting the wild beast, Yung Xiao sensed movement. When he came over to check, he saw Yao Shizhen from a distance. The scene of 3 people falling into the tentacles of the desolate beast. Yung Xiao didn't even wait for a moment, and immediately ran away with the people. But the octopus desolate beast had already noticed Yung Xiao's life breath. Almost at the moment Yung Xiao fled, the desolate beast's body began to turn from solid to insubstantial. After a flash, it disappeared on the spot and chased in the direction where Yung Xiao and the others fled. At the same time, on the yellow sand desert where Rorschach and the others were, there was an elephant-like one, with a long trunk, 4 thighs like Optimus pillars, thick scales, 2 sharp tusks protruding from its mouth, and a strange feeling lingering all over its body. The wild beast in the mist also appeared from the virtual to the real. This is a wild beast. When Yakin saw this huge beast, her beautiful face under the veil showed a look of astonishment. Wild beast, compared to Yakin's shock, the world beast Beatty looked at the strange creature in front of him with a foodie expression. It looks delicious. Master. He turned to look at Rorschach. Can you let me eat it? Luo Xia looked at the desolate beast that had completely solidified, and asked, it should have the power of the 10th level eternal true God, are you sure? The world beast Beatty was so excited that he even shed tears and said, try it? Don't look at the world beast Beatty, who only has the realm of the true God of the void. He is the king of world beasts, combining the power of billions of world beasts into one. It is an existence on the same level as the original universe. If the opponent is a Chaos Master level desolate beast, the world beast Beatty may still be weak, but now. Just do it and it's done. The world beast Beatty roared angrily, and controlled the ghost crow Dark Feather and Dark Star Ring Blade to rush towards the huge wild beast. Moo dash. The wild beast roared, and the sound shook the space. At the center, it even tore apart time and space, causing the surrounding matter to annihilate into strange lightning crackling sounds. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yun Song. Chapter 491. The world beast Beatty listened to Rorschach's words and never dared to show his true identity. Fortunately, it is a perfect divine body. No matter what its form is, it can perfectly display its full strength. At this time, he used his invincible divine power to fight with the completely solidified wild beast, and a terrifying power suddenly burst out. The sky collapsed and the earth shattered, causing the sun, moon, and stars to fall. This is the battle between the world beast Beatty and the elephant beast. The energy fluctuations generated by the explosion of the two are extremely terrifying, and just the aftermath is enough to kill any true god of the void who dares to get close. Fortunately, Yakin was protected by Rorschach. Those terrible energy aftermaths only spread to a distance of less than 1 meter in front of Rorschach, and then automatically annihilated and dissipated. It was as if the 1 meter distance around Rorschach was an absolutely defensive area. No attack can exceed this distance. So close is the universe. Yakin looked at the world beast Beatty who exploded with divine power in great surprise, this servant of Rorschach who only had the realm of the void true God, but now exploded with power no less than the eternal true God. Yakin is really surprised. That desolate beast is the strength of the eternal true God of the 10th level. Coupled with the blessing of desolate time and space, its absolute strength is already very close to the master of chaos. How could Beatty, the world beast, be able to compete? Boom! Just when Yakin was surprised and stunned, Beatty, the world beast on the field, suddenly pulled his crotch. With terrifying divine power, he tore through the void like a meteor and rushed towards the huge wild beast. The secret patterns of the Dark Star Ring Blade and the Ghost Crow Dark Feather were activated by him to shine brightly. The power of the two merged together, making those dark feathers become like stars, surrounding the world beast Beatty. Beatty brought tens of thousands of star dark feathers and fiercely charged at the wild beast. At this moment, it was like Beatty grabbed a small galaxy and used it as a meteor hammer to hit the wild beast. The wild beast was hit, and the stars exploded and fell. Time and space are breaking. The scene looks apocalyptic. But why did Rorschach say that Bidala stretched his crotch? Because this attack seemed ferocious and terrifying, but it did not hurt the wild beast at all. I saw the desolate beast standing in the center of space and time where stars exploded, like an unshakable mountain, unscathed. The desolate beast was seen roaring up to the sky, and an invisible wave centered on the desolate beast itself and spread out in all directions. In an instant, the falling star dark feathers stopped their impact, and the exploding energy was like chalk writing on a blackboard, being gently erased by some strange force. Before the world beast Beatty had time to react, the desolate beast suddenly disappeared on the spot. Then, before its figure had completely solidified, the legs and feet of the Optimus pillar had already stepped on the body of the world beast Beatty, smashing it. Fall. Boom. On the boundless yellow sand desert, under the strong impact of Beatty, a huge pothole appeared, and the dust was flying. The original power of nothingness. Logos Ya, who was protecting Yakin, raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at the wild beast. He was a little surprised. Unexpectedly, the desolate beast bred in this desolate time and space actually possesses the original power of the law of nothingness. This level of origin power is similar to the level of the origin of destruction. Both have the ultimate power of destruction. Although the world beast Beatty controls the origin of destruction, the time he was born was too short. Now he is just the true god of the void, far inferior to Morosa in the original work. In the original work, when Luo Feng led Morosa into the origin continent, both of them had become the eternal true gods. But now, world beast Beatty has only become the king of world beasts for less than an era, and is just the true god of the void. So, although the realm beast king has endless potential, the current strength of the realm beast Beatty is really not enough. Damn it! The world beast Beatty quickly flew out of the desert pit. He spat out a mouthful of yellow sand and looked at the desolate beast in the distance fiercely. He did not expect that this desolate beast actually controlled the original power of the law of voidness. No wonder I found the other person delicious and wanted to eat this wild beast. It turns out that he holds the original power of such laws. If he could eat this desolate beast, he would be able to gain the opponent's void power. By then, his control over the origin of destruction will reach a higher level, and it is not certain that he will even directly break through to the eternal true God. The world beast Beatty wanted to rush forward, but Rorschach called out to him. The power of the wild beast is really beyond what Beatty, the current world beast, can do. Protect Miss Yakin. Rorschach gave an order, and a chaos star iron like an embroidery needle appeared in his hand. He shook it, and the embroidery needle immediately became larger, like an iron rod, and Rorschach held it in his hand. Whoosh! Luoxia held the chaos star iron and danced like a stick. Then, with a focused look in his eyes, he smashed the chaos star iron in his hand towards the desolate beast's head. Boom! Rorschach's attack was too fast, and the huge body of the wild beast had no time to dodge, and was directly hit. At the moment when the void exploded, like the world beast Beatty before, it turned into a meteor and hit the ground. Boom! In the dull eyes of Beatty and Yakin, the desolate beast that had been suppressing Beatty just now was smashed into the yellow sand desert by Rorschach in less than one round, causing a giant monster to appear on the earth again. Pothole. Moo dash. The wild beast roared and disappeared into the pit, leaving Rorschach's subsequent attack in vain. It instantly appeared in the sky above Rorschach, its huge body carrying terrifying divine power, pressing on Rorschach like a mountain of 5 fingers. But Luoxia had expected this. He turned around and used the Chaos Star Iron in his hand to launch a counterattack. With a bang, the Chaos Star Iron became larger and longer, and hit the wild beast again. This Chaos Star Iron is a treasure of the God King level. The two attacks hit the wild beast's body. Even if its body defense is terrifying, it can't withstand such a bombardment. Amid screams, the wild beast's huge body collapsed, and strange blood dripped from the wound. This strange blood dripped into the yellow sand desert, and instantly eroded the earth into several holes, as if someone had used a spoon to dig away part of the yellow sand desert. The world beast Bidi was surprised. This wild beast's blood actually has a strong power of nothingness. The Chaos Star Iron hit the wild beast's body, causing it to retreat continuously. Luoxia took advantage of the victory and pursued it. The Chaos Star Iron in his hand changed again, turning into the size of an embroidery needle, and disappeared into the void, instantly piercing into the body of the wild beast. Swish, swish, swish. Luoxia controlled 16 Chaos Star Irons to attack the wild beast. These Chaos Star Irons like embroidery needles drilled into the wild beast's body from the wound position, wreaking havoc in the wild beast's body. Not long after, Luoxia found the place where the wild beast's soul was. It was a strange space of nothingness. Any treasure or strong soul power that dared to enter this place would be annihilated in the moment of being contaminated with the power of nothingness. Luckily, Luoxia's Chaos Star Iron is a treasure of the soul, and it is a treasure of the God King level, which can withstand the power of nothingness of the wild beast. Luoxia's mind moved, and 16 Chaos Star Irons formed a formation, transformed into a giant dragon, tore through the power of nothingness, rushed into the center, and instantly tore through the soul of the wild beast. Boom! In reality, with the annihilation of the soul, the huge body of the wild beast fell to the ground, losing its vitality. Swallowed Star, my understanding is beyond belief. Author, Bo Yoon Song. Chapter 492. Rorschach stretched out his hand, and the power of time and space suddenly exploded, and the time and space where the desolate beast's body was located was immediately distorted. The extremely huge corpse was easily taken into the palm of Rorschach's hand in this distorted time and space. Rorschach carefully observed the power of nothingness remaining on the desolate beast, and his heaven-defying understanding exploded instantly. In just a moment, he had only a slight understanding of the law of nothingness, and he immediately grasped the origin of the law of nothingness. The power. The body is given to you. While Rorschach threw the body of the wild beast in his hand to the world beast Bidi, an invisible and immaterial force shot out from his fingertips. No sound was made. In Yakin's stunned and dull eyes, where Rorschach's fingertips touched, time and space had suddenly been annihilated, and an invisible black hole could be vaguely seen, swallowing up everything and turning it into nothingness. The Lord God has mastered the original power of the law of nothingness. Such thoughts came to Yakin's mind. Rorschach had also used his power before. In the battle with the ghost crow god, Rorschach once used the power of destruction, and the eternal true God usually only controls the power of one law origin. There are few eternal true gods who can control the power of multiple law origins. But now, in addition to exerting the original power of destruction, Luoxia also exerted the original power of the law of voidness, and it seemed as if he had just learned it from the desolate beast. It was just with the desolate beast. Can you realize the original power of the law of nothingness by fighting beasts? Yakin was so shocked by this thought that she didn't know what words to use to describe the shock she felt. She looked at Rorschach blankly. Is there really anyone in this world whose understanding can be so defiant? Let's go into the temple. After Rorschach tested the original power of the law of nothingness that he learned from the desolate beast, he flew towards the dilapidated temple. According to the information he obtained from the Dark Star Destruction Strike 6 Mecha, in this temple, there is the inheritance of the Dark Star God King regarding the manufacturing of mechas. The Dark Star God King, who once dominated the Origin continent, is not a master of weapon refining like Mountain Guest, who can refine anything, but he is very proficient in mechas. Maybe in terms of manufacturing mechas, Mountain Guest everyone is willing to accept the defeat. Rorschach is very interested in the manufacturing of mechas. He hoped to find the Dark Star God King's inheritance regarding mechas in this temple. And on the other side of the ruins, wild beasts are slaughtering wildly. Yun Xiao fled very quickly and was not caught up by the desolate beast. This was because during his escape, he deliberately led the desolate beast to the area where other forces were located. The desolate beast was attracted by other people, which allowed Yun Xiao to escape. Manchi Shenjun, who came from the ancient city, is currently fighting against the octopus beast. The two sides fought hard to separate each other. Manchi Shenjun's strength is quite good, but everyone knows that in this desolate time and space, it is extremely difficult to completely defeat an eternal true god level desolate beast, so most people are running away and heading towards escape in the direction of the crack in time and space. The wind roared and the heaven and earth shook violently. Manchi Shenjun used the original power of the law of fire to turn hundreds of millions of miles of space into a sea of fire. A big fireball was like a star, hanging high in the sky, and shot out one after another fire meteors that could burn everything, bombarding the direction. Octopus Beast. However, the void power of the octopus wild beast exploded, like a dark night rising up. The billions of miles area centered on it turned into a terrifying black area, and everything turned into nothingness. The bolide was decomposed and annihilated just as it touched the boundary of the black domain, and was unable to touch the body of the octopus beast at all. Manchi Shenjun's eyes were as bright as lightning. Faced with the situation that his moves were not fully effective, he did not feel disappointed or discouraged at all. A loud sound. The eternal true god-level treasure flame divine sword appeared in the hands of Lord Manchi. The divine flames shine in Kangming. The Lord Manchi roared angrily, and his sword glowed like fire and lightning, like a bright meteor, instantly piercing the dark night, and actually tore through the void realm of the desolate beast in an instant. The octopus wild beast didn't seem to expect that Manchi Shenjun had such power. It had no time to react, and its two huge tentacles were cut off by Manchi Shenjun. Good. Manchi Shenjun is so powerful. Powerful. As expected of the Manchi God Lord. Many true gods of the void and eternal gods who had not yet had time to escape became somewhat excited when they saw this scene. However, while everyone was excited, Manchi Shenjun felt a life and death crisis approaching. Before he could turn around, the wild beast's tentacles rolled in like a tide, and the sharp tentacles cut through the air, making a tearing buzz. Manchi Shenjun had no time to dodge, so he could only resist with the flaming divine sword. He blocked to the left and dodged right for a moment. After all, he was hit by the desolate beast's tentacles and fell into the ruins of the city like a meteor. In the flying dust, huge potholes appeared in the city full of ruins. Ah! Run! The Lord Manchi is also defeated. Hurry up! The wild beast is indeed ferocious and invincible. Seeing this scene, the void true gods, who were originally moving a little slowly, quickly sped up and fled. The octopus wild beast was about to pursue the victory and kill the Manchi Shenjun, but at this moment, it suddenly sensed the fall of the elephant wild beast. The octopus beast immediately gave up on the Manchi divine lord and escaped directly into the void, disappearing from everyone's sight. In the huge pit, the Manchi god, who was severely injured by the power of nothingness, looked at the place where the wild beast disappeared, a little stunned and confused. Why did this wild beast leave? This question was also a puzzle for others. However, although they did not know why the wild beast left, the people who were still alive knew that with the disappearance of the wild beast, they were temporarily safe. The ruins in this desolate space and time are indeed extremely dangerous. This wild beast controls the power of nothingness, which is not something we can contend with at all. Yes, if we can master the origin of life, or the origin of destruction and other powerful origin powers, we may still have the strength to fight. Only the most talented strong can comprehend the origin of life, the origin of destruction and other origin powers. If you can comprehend and master them, you have the potential to become a God King. Stop chatting, let's go quickly. Leave here first and return to the origin continent. According to previous records, as long as wild beasts appear in this ruins, there will be more wild beasts later. If we don't leave, we may all die here. The last person to speak was like a crow's mouth. As soon as he finished speaking, several beast shadows that gradually turned from virtual to real appeared above the ruins. Everyone was shocked and didn't care to stay, and hurriedly fled to the location of the space-time crack. Lord Manchi did not dare to fight the wild beasts anymore. One wild beast almost killed him. He could not handle the sudden appearance of so many wild beasts. He had to escape quickly. At the same time, the octopus wild beast that disappeared before instantly crossed the endless time and space and arrived at the area where Laosia and the others were.